Well, gang, you might want to pump those brakes real quick because coming at you with an emergency video. In fact, I had a massive UFO video that I recorded. It's ready to go live, but I'm delaying it because some crazy stuff just came out, and we're not just talking about the JFK files. Yes, relax, you're gonna get some, and if you're new here, guys, you do not have to subscribe, you do not have to like the video, none of that. We're gonna jump right into it. Trump is talking about WW3. I want to also talk about that video clip, and in fact, not just talk about it, show you too. But the reason I'm delaying that UFO video, which you're probably gonna get it tomorrow, but the reason I'm delaying it is because 80,000 files were revealed of the JFK assassination. Not just that, but we're finding out that JFK ordered the release of UFO files 10 days before his Dallas. Let me just put it that way. Cannot say that word on YouTube in at least the beginning of the video because of the policy that YouTube got. But in this document, which we're gonna get to, relax, you're gonna get some. We're gonna definitely, I'm gonna read it out loud. We're gonna get down to it before, after I show you guys this video that also is going around. But it talks about JFK wanted to, or talking about militarization of the moon, and he was also talking about the EBEs. If you know, you know, Project Serpo, Roswell, New Mexico UFO crash. They talked about finding out 2 alien pilots, or I believe 5 or something like that. There were mostly all of them were dead. There was one alive, and they took him to the Area 51. That's a conspiracy, not my opinion. And guess what? His name was EB2. Oh shit! Yeah, so it's like one of the alien race, and here it talks about, hey, the EBs are in control of the dark side of the moon. Oh my goodness, man, this is insane, man. Guys, let's jump right into it. First of all, I want to show you guys this clip, and we're gonna get to roll it.
Developing tonight, the Trump administration has released thousands of classified files on JFK's 1963 assassination.
80,000 to be precise. I mean, as Kimberly Sweet Brown once said, ain't nobody got time for that. Summarize the crap out of this one for me right now.
Assassination. President Trump ordered the release, aiming to uncover details about JFK, Robert F. Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr.'s killings. Professional historians are still reviewing the new documents, which include insights on Lee Harvey Oswald and CIA operations. While many files remain unreleased, this marks the most significant declassification effort since the 1990s. Professor Aaron Good, host of the American Exception podcast, says these documents shed new light on the CIA's connection to Lee Harvey Oswald.
Some of the things that they shed light on are JFK's conflicts with the CIA, and things related to the CIA's relationship with Oswald, including the surveillance of Oswald and other things pertaining to Lee Harvey Oswald's relationship with the agency and agency assets. There are things in there that deal with Angleton, James Angleton, the head of CIA counterintelligence, and his relationship with Israeli intelligence, and how he was sort of a pipeline for information emanating from Israeli sources.
And in one document, and I also want to point this out too, there's bound to be misinformation as well, and there's bound to be misinterpretation. And yeah, a lot of people are also saying, well, 80,000 files you're revealing, 80,000 files, but it's probably just bullshit. People are saying that on the internet. That goes to show you, like, the trust with the government is at an all-time low, and understandably you always want to ask for questions, right? But apparently it is also, yeah, this started trending, the CIA killed JFK. So it's one of those friendly fire kind of situation, one of those inside situation. Yeah, I mean, a small clique within the CIA was responsible for the assassination. Oh shit! In one of the files it says. Damn, man. This is, yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily shocking. I guess a lot of people do believe to a certain degree it's always is an inside job, but damn, I mean, damn, wait for it.
Now, the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, had this to say on X, quote, President Trump is ushering in a new era of maximum transparency. Today, per his direction, previously redacted JFK assassination files are being released to the public with no redactions. Promises made, promises kept. And journalists,
we need the EP Island files, man. We need the UFO files. We demand answers. We demand answers. We demand answers. This is a really good step, first of all. But what are your thoughts on it? 1, in the comments if you believe everything that is coming out about JFK. 2, if you believe there's more to it, there's probably truth, some lies, and some cover-ups still, even though they're saying it's no redaction. 3, if you think all of it is fake. I want to like know where you guys are at. Let me know in the comments, but wait for it, as I always say, wait for it.
Jefferson Morley says newly released documents revealed JFK's mistrust of the CIA, plots to kill Fidel Castro, and surveillance of Lee Harvey Oswald. About a third of previously redacted files are now public. However, many of them still are classified. Morley, who is author of The Ghost and editor of JFK Facts on Substack, continues to push for full transparency.
You know, you can access most of the.
I'm hearing they have released 80,000 files, and we're still hearing that they're still holding back. What? Say psych right now. Say psych, bruh. Say psych, homie. But also another thing to note is that we're getting. I heard that yesterday they released files, today they released files, and maybe in the future they're probably gonna release more and more. Trump, yeah, here you go. Trump admin releases 80,000 pages JFK assassination documents. Bro, 80,000. Ain't nobody got time for that, man. Maybe one of you watching and you're like, no, bro, I got time for that, son. I got my goggles on. I'm gonna get my coffee. I got my keyboard ready. I'm gonna type out some of the important stuff from it on the notepad. And bro, I gotta say salute. Salute. If you're one of those troopers out there that are gonna be going through 80,000 files, troopers. And yeah, we need the summarization version of this one real quick though.
Is now online through the National Archives website. There are still some that have not been released because they are in the process of being digitized, so those will be available later. And then there are some that we just can't see because they're under court seal at the moment, and it's not clear when those would ever be lifted. And so we're waiting to see on those fronts. But by and large, this was a campaign promise made by President Trump, and how they're describing it is as a campaign promise kept. I was actually traveling with Trump while he was campaigning in Arizona the day that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. endorsed him, and it was then that he made the announcement that he would, if elected, release all of these files. And you may remember in the early days of his administration, one of the earliest executive orders he signed was to release these files along with the files from...
and also Trump did say that he's going to be revealing the EP Island files as well. And also Trump administration, not necessarily Trump, but his administration did talk about, or not necessarily his administration, my bad, Anna Paulina Luna, right? So one of the rep. I'm not an American, so I don't know everything about it. Maybe Anna Paulina Luna is working for Trump administration. I may be wrong. Yeah, if I am, definitely put it in the comments below. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that Anna Paulina Luna also did say that she's putting together a task force team that is going to be revealing the JFK files, EP Island files, other files, 911 files too, and also UFO files, and they're going to reveal the truth about aliens, UFOs, and all that. Yeah, I made a video on it. You probably heard that news either here or on other channels. Yeah, so point is, this is a good sign. I think it's gonna be a very slow rollout. So now that we got JFK files, we're probably gonna get other files, and hopefully we're also gonna be getting the UFO files as well, and real disclosure with photos, videos of these alien twats, these creatures, entities, whatever you want to call them, UFOs, and yeah. But are we gonna get the full truth? Probably not. I'm more in the middle of this one. I do believe there's gonna be truth with lies. There's gonna be stuff that's 110% gonna be held back. But do you believe that everything that's gonna come out is true? Do you believe that everything that's gonna come out is false? Yeah, put it in the comments, let me know. But before I show you guys the next clip, and also this WW3 clip from Trump, let's actually get down to this one. Yeah, right, because I know you guys have been relaxing for a while, and now it is time that you get some, okay? It is time that you get some, fellas. Okay, so check this out. In 1963, JFK sought to ease the uneasy tension by extending cooperation with the USSR in outer space investigation of UFOs through a joint moon project. MJ-12 was opposed to this because they felt the militarization. I'm not sure who MJ-12 is. Put it in the comments if you have any information on that, or what was that. MJ-12 was opposed to this because they felt the militarization of the moon would place the US in a dangerous situation with the EBEs, who control the dark side of the moon, who control the dark side of the moon. What? Say psych right now. Because yeah, like I said in the very beginning of the video, EBEs is an alien race, okay? They crash landed before, and they have been talked about throughout the years, decades. Yeah, bro, it's crazy. You think it's a psyop within a psyop within a psyop, or you think it's a psyop, or you think it's legit, or yeah, I want to know your take on it, because Ebans, I think 2 different races, but maybe not. I could be wrong. I believe some people call them Ebans, some call them EBEs. And yeah, one of the alien that crash landed back in 1947, Roswell, New Mexico. That's the story, right, bitch? And the crazy part here is that initially the U.S. government in the newspaper did say it was an UFO crash. Oh, shit. The following day they changed their wording, and then over the years stuff has changed. And so yeah, ask yourself this: why, right? So yeah, people don't buy the story, but now we're hearing that, and of course, dark side of the moon is another conspiracy theory that, you know, aliens are there and it's like an airport for them. There is like a small number, or maybe a bigger number of them residing there with their alien moon passports or some shit like that. Crazy stuff, guys. Secondly, I want to read you this, okay? And then I'll show you guys a video. Next video. In 1964, President Johnson was briefed by MJ-12 on the dangerous relationship with the EMEs. I don't know about EMEs and NICAP. If any of you know, put it in the comments. So that might be insane to, if you know about it, you might be listening to this and you're like, holy shit, I want to have that oh shit moment too. So if you know anything about it, hey, don't hold back, put it in the comments. Pause. Dangerous relationship with EMEs and how they influence the doctrines and policies of US foreign relations. MJ-12 successfully prevented NICAP representatives from issuing their conclusions on the UFOs to government leaders and blocked attempts by NICAP to brief Johnson on the UFO threat. MJ-1 was responsible for this coup. So if you know anything about NICAP, MJ-12, Johnny Boy Johnson, put it in the comments. Yeah, insane. I mean, UFO threat, what are we talking about? And if you want to read the entire thing, you can pause and read it, because it's insane. Let's get back to this video here, boo boo. And if you do have Twitter, X, I would love to have you there. Feel free to follow on there, add me there. Instagram, if you do have that instead, follow there as well. It would be a pleasure to have you. Let's get back to the content here, boo boo.
MLK Jr. and Robert F. Kennedy's assassinations as well. So as you mentioned, we had a whole team here at CBS going through these documents, and they're really, honestly, sometimes difficult to read. These are scanned in documents. Some of them are handwritten notes. It's difficult to read and decipher some.
The thousands of files just made public by Justice Department officials detail a legion of Central Intelligence Agency assets who were working on behalf of the U.S. in Cuba and around the world, and the schemes, chicanery, and spy mastering they were trained to undertake.
The administration had been involved in trying to overthrow the Castro government. It had been involved in various plots for assassinations, South Vietnam being the most dramatic example of that. So it is not inconceivable that the same thing was happening aimed at the president, as he was involved in, or at least his administration was involved with, looking outward.
Any smoking guns for you or things you were surprised by?
Not yet, Marky. I have to admit, it's been a heck of a read. I've been reading most of the night while you guys have been asleep, and it is quite something to read. I think the most fascinating one for me was reading about the assassination of Dominican Republic President Trujillo, and he was murdered basically by a military coup, but with the full knowledge of the CIA. And I think the chilling thing is to read these documents unredacted and realize that we were basically going around killing leaders that we didn't like very much. And it was a very grim period.
America, bro, I swear to God, man, America, crazy. Y'all boys be crazy. Of course, not the people, but the government, right? Yeah, y'all boys be crazy. Yeah, don't like that politician? Press delete right now. Crazy, bro. Oh my God, but 80,000 pages. What the hell? There's bound to be speculation in that one. There's bound to be opinions in that one. There's bound to be fake stuff too, right? I don't know, man. 80,000 pages. That don't make sense, bro. Yeah, okay, 100 pages, 200 pages. Okay, makes sense. But 80,000? Shit, man. What are your thoughts on that one?
in Cold War history where we did anything in the name of anti-communism. And I guess it's a bit naive of us to expect that there would be anything in the documents that would carte blanche make it very clear that there is or isn't a conspiracy. I don't think anybody who had any intention to kill the president would have set it out in black and white. But what does come through in the documents very, very clearly is that when Oswald visited Mexico City in September prior to the assassination in 1963, the CIA had an enormous presence in Mexico City, and it really does strain credulity that they didn't have eyes on what he was up to, if indeed he was an assassin.
Yeah. You know, you and I talked about both, redacted documents yesterday. They've been kept private for so long, identities, methods of investigation. Now that we've gotten a lot of unredacted documents yesterday, I believe some of them are still redacted. Does this put anybody in danger or their families who were involved in this case, do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think what it's more about, and I can understand why the agency was sensitive about it, but I think they were being oversensitive. It's all about protecting sources and methods. Methods particularly. There are techniques that...
Yeah, he almost said met heads.
Intelligence services use to protect how they gather information. But frankly, I think it would be naive of us to think that 61, 62 years on, those methods are still in need of being protected. Frankly, the biggest shock in the files to me so far is why on earth they kept these secret all these years and allowed this notion of conspiracy to fester.
The real question is that, was he assassinated because of the UFOs? Because, yeah, it's being said that he, I guess take it as a rumor for now, guys, because I don't know if it's confirmed, or, I mean, it's in the files. Yeah, but, like, I don't know if was that the reason, because he wanted to reveal the truth about UFOs, therefore he got assassinated? Damn. Men in Black were big back in the days, too, right? Pause. But Men in Black were big as in, there was a whole lot of talk, fuss about them, and you would always hear whenever somebody would see like a UFO in the sky, and if they were to talk about it, the Men in Black would show up, right? So back in the days, mamas would always say, son, if you see a UFO, do not post it, do not talk about it, keep it to yourself, or Men in Black will show up. It was a big thing back in the days, and over the years we don't hear about it as much. We don't hear about it much. But yeah, 10 days before. Damn, man, 10 days before. Shit, bro, that's crazy.
I still do think there was a conspiracy, by the way. I just don't think we're going to find it in the files.
Yeah. Lastly, I have a few seconds left. What does this do for the conspiracy theorists out there? Is this case closed for them, Ross, or... No, they'll always have questions.
Not at all. No, just because it's not written down on paper doesn't mean that the evidence doesn't point to more than one shooter. And the evidence is beginning to make it very clear that there were multiple shooters, probably 3 shooters. And I think eventually that's going to have to be admitted. It's just not going to come out of this release of these files.
Yeah, we'll see what the remaining 30,000 have in store for us today.
The day after the assassination, Gary Underhill left Washington in a hurry. Late in the evening, he showed up at the home of friends in New Jersey. He was very agitated. A small clique within the CIA was responsible for the assassination, he confided, and he was afraid for his life and probably would have to leave the country. Less than 6 months later, Underhill was found dead, shot to death in his Washington, D.C. apartment. The coroner ruled it a suicide. Dang. J. Garrett Underhill had been an intelligence agent during World War II and was a recognized authority on limited warfare and small arms. He was also on intimate terms with a number of high-ranking CIA officials, arms dealer, broker, all this stuff. Clients, he actually bought equipment from the same place where Lee Harvey Oswald bought the rifle. This is good.
Oh man, get ready guys, buy inks, buy your ink cartridges, because you got 80,000 pages to print. Oh man, Amazon's or I should say these printer companies gonna go insane. Their stocks gonna shoot up right now because everybody, or I should say mostly these news channels, would have to like print these pages, right? So they can read it, show it, talk about it, this and that. Damn it, man. Damn it. Printer ink cartridges about to shoot up.
And very interesting, we also have this. It might be a crank letter that purports to be from John F. Kennedy Jr. sent to the U.S. Capitol, and it says, "Dear Senator Kennedy, dear Senator Biden, you are a traitor." Ooh. Signed, John F. Kennedy, and it's actually it's sent from an address.
He mean like Joe Biden or someone else? Probably someone else, right? I don't know. I'm not an American, guys. I don't know much about American politics.
Dear Senator Kennedy, dear Senator Biden, you are a traitor. Damn. Signed, John F. Kennedy, and it's actually it's sent from an address in Massachusetts where he may or may not have had property. 8,000 documents. We got to take our time with this. Connect the dots. Needle in the haystack. Can't just put it in ChatGPT and hope for the best.
ChatGPT and hope for the best. Now I want to show you guys this clip. Roll it.
So I just want to say God bless America, because we have to say God bless. We're lucky we're still here, frankly.
Damn.
And this whole thing could lead. I think we have it. I think we have it. But this could lead to World War III very easily. Could very easily lead to World War III. But I think we're in pretty good shape. Lot better than we were before we got involved, that I can tell you. That was heading into World War III territory, and that would have been a war like no other because of nuclear weapons and other types of weapons that people you don't even want to know about.
Damn.
But so yeah. Russia...
I can think of biological weapons and all that, but that's the thing. We know about them. At least we think we know about them. But there's bound to be some other too, right? Yeah, whatever you think you have, the military is probably light years ahead. So crazy. I want to skip to this one. Check this.
Russia. Adam, as you said earlier, America has to be involved in that process. And I think it's very impressive what your prime minister is doing as we speak right now, and having the virtual meeting with other leaders.
Okay, let me show you from right here. And also another point that before I forget I wanted to bring up is that, yeah, because there was a whole lot of fuss about the elites, billionaires, buying and making their bunkers. I'm not sure if it's still true or not. I guess if they made them or bought them, I guess they would keep it, and they have it right now, so it's still relevant. But it is interesting, right? Because we saw mostly all of the billionaires, elites talk about, hey, we were getting our bunkers ready, nuclear bunker, doomsday bunker, and that was one of those red flags. And it gets you thinking, right? It gets you thinking, why all of a sudden everyone, mostly every one of these elites, billionaires, started investing in the doomsday bunkers. Okay, maybe one or two of them, maybe 10 of them, understandable, but like mostly all of them, it was definitely a red flag, and it still is a red flag. And especially now Trump talking about it, I guess Trump is more like, hey, situation is under control. That's sort of the vibe you're getting from it. But still, I mean, holy smoke is it. Ain't no dang jokers.
In addition to hanging on to Crimea, even though they invaded Ukraine. Quickly, if you can, please.
Martha, we have to ask ourselves, is it in our national interest? Is it realistic? We've talked to the Europeans about this and the Ukrainians. Are we going to drive every Russian off of every inch of Ukrainian soil, including Crimea? And what the strategy of the Biden administration was as long as it takes, as much as it takes, no matter what the timeline is, which is essentially endless warfare. In an environment that we're literally losing hundreds of thousands of people in a matter of months, and could escalate into World War III. So,
and did you see this video, this alien video that they just released? If not, click on this video on the screen and check it out. It is truly crazy. We had a bunch of like these sightings, some alien clips in this one, Bigfoot, other stuff, and yeah, check it out, and I'll see you right there.